we're going to be checking out some of the balance changes that Super Auto Pets have just done, looking at the change log. Alright, first of all, the mascots and the plus subscriptions thing is here. Which is, you know, it's a nice little touch. I never have any problem with cosmetics being paid and content being paid, generally speaking, as long as it's not predatory and you know what. So skins like this, or whatever you want to call this stuff, it has no gameplay impact. I don't care. You could make it glow like every single color, like whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go over most of the gameplay focused stuff. I mean, bear in mind, I don't even know what most of the pets do. So I'm only gonna go over the ones that I know about. And we're just gonna, you know, I'm not here as an expert, I'm just here as a guy. Looking at Super Auto Pets stuff. Looking at what I think is interesting. So what else? Change rewards, yeah, okay. Timers down to 90 seconds. I think it was 2 minutes before or something similar. A lot of complaints about it being a bit too long, people taking ages, so fair enough. Yeah, some snack stuff for skins, none of my business. Random buffs so that they always target non-max pets first is extremely good quality of life. It also makes like buffing pets way more reliable late game. Like Moose, for example, you know. Changed matchmaking for make it better, hopefully. Although it makes it harder for me. Now I can't farm noobs. Yeah, that bug was a bit annoying. That's gone. What else? Subscription. It's, I think, $2 a month for... This is the most notable one. I would actually like... This is one of the reasons I would consider buying it, is to watch their watch your opponent's entire experience, to see what, you know, how they got what they got. It's kind of like a demo viewing, you know, for CS people. The rest of this is, you know, just cosmetics, which I don't really mind here or there. Ladybug buff. These are just small stats changes, is, you know, nice here and there. Most of them are not that much of a benefit or problem. This thing I've called useless before and it was pretty useless. I don't know if this makes it more or less useless. I don't see how giving it rice really makes a difference, to be honest. But you know what, they've got an idea somewhere. I guess rice is like the default, like it has a perk but it doesn't do anything in battle type of perk. I don't actually know what the guinea pig is, but this is a pretty big stats change. 1 and 2, you know. Hedgehog, I do know what it is. 1 more attack, seems good. This change is pretty good. It was a bit much like leveling up and gaining like +2/+2 from 1 to 2 was pretty busted for jellyfish. So now it only works on friendlies but not itself, which is nice. Pug tier 2 to 3, I don't know how much use it will see, because it was really useful if you got like a pug early, so you could get a level up on something you couldn't normally get so quickly. Especially getting a level 2 pug. If you got a level 2 pug in by the time you were on like tier 3 or 4, you could jumpstart new tier pets very quickly, which is like a strong pivot strat. Now that's not going to be as viable, so like a 5/2 that gives +1/+1 and +1 experience on tier 2 is strong, but in tier 3 it's kind of like it gets outclassed. Maybe on level up it's worth it, but even then, you know. Salamander, I never really messed with this guy, but because I feel like only attack scaling was not as valuable. I feel like health is better than attack, but I've lost 2 before, so I can see why it was kind of the infinite cycle buy sell was nerfed. Toucan, slide buff, whatever. This is pretty big. So Blobfish didn't get nerfed as hard as Pug did. It went to a 2/6. It's a higher tier. Tier 4 is extremely late for compared to how it usually was. And honestly, deserved nerf, but also it didn't get a buff. Now it gives +2/+2 instead of +1/+1, and that also means it scales like +2 +4 +6 instead of 1, 2, and 3, which is pretty nice. So I think it's gonna be really worth it to keep freezing pills and blobfish, but it's not gonna be immediate. It'll be more for the stats, really, because +3 +3 for 4 gold is on turn 4 is still viable. Plus the experience is, I mean, insanely valuable, but pills are going to be harder to find later tiers. Good point. Clownfish. Clownfish is... when you got a clownfish on level up, it was insane. Now, clownfish at tier 4 is too slow. Way too slow. In my book. And even if it gets a stats buff, like, clownfish is not going to be as useful in a vacuum. Obviously, the weekly is situational, and I'm a weekly guy. Flea, +1 buff, nice. Never seen this flying fish. Mole was always useless. Whenever I saw someone trying to make it work, by the time they can afford all the perks, they're outscaled, and an 8/8 mole is useless. So remove 2 perks for a 6/6 mole. You know what? It's not going to be good still, but it'll be fine, I think. This chameleon rework is no longer a feint ability. Now it's just like it duplicates your toy, which is useful now, but now it can't be activated by like feint adjacent pets. You know, like what is it, Pterodon, which like activates it again, so that won't work. Stuff like that. Giving it a mushroom won't work, so you can't like activate the peanut jar like 5 times, you know what I mean? So that's fair. Eel gets lower tier, lower attack, but it was basically a health guy anyway, so that's fine, I think. Be pretty useful early on. Hippo change. Less. It gains less by default, but gains more against high tier pets. And it gains a bit of health. Does this make Hippo better? Hippo is always kind of like, if you got it early, you're unstoppable. If you got it too late, you desperately trying to make it work and it never works. So... I'm torn personally. But, yeah. Yeah, I think this could be fine, but I guess now it's at least like maybe a bit viable late game. If you get level 3, depending on how scaling centric or weekly is, it can be useful. But like, because sometimes it doesn't necessarily make it useful to storm through like 2, you know what I mean? 2 enemies. Poison Dart Frog gets a buff, 369, now it's 412. It's still useless in my book, apart from niche like use cases. Whale, pretty big stats buff. It was already pretty good to just get a 3/8 out there like early or whatever, even if you ignore synergies, to be honest. And a 410, one of the strongest, earliest raw stats you can get. You just put it up front, give it like a meat bone. It can give you good results. This kind of just makes things more predictable for Fire Ant, so it's kind of fine. More predictable is like generally better, but yeah, same for here. Now you can control it. Rightmost means that if you freeze it, though, I think the freezed ones go on the right. Does the freeze foods go on the right, don't they? Because freezed pets go on the left. So this makes it controllable. Turkey just gets attack and health switched like positions. I guess I would consider this enough because I value health more than attack, but up to you. Lionfish nerf. The recent weekly made Lionfish really powerful in some niche situations. I guess it's, if you give it a pineapple, it's still doable. I think it will still be fine depending on the situation. But it's not going to be like a go-to like it used to be. This is just kind of like a rework. But it also means that something that dies that summons something else it doesn't interact with this anymore. You know, like if it's a cricket or whatever, one of the spawns will like pop out unless you activate it when you already have a space slot. So some interactions are no longer going to work. Nyala interaction might not work unless you put the Pteranodon not at the back. So there's some small stuff to think about there. I've never seen a Tyrannosaurus in a weekly, but it just seems like a straight up nerf, which is fine. Overall, I think, you know, not that many changes, but personally, seeing as I don't buy the packs right now since I'm playing mostly the weekly, I would consider buying a subscription just for supporting the developers, and because it's pretty cheap, and you're not paying for literal new content, you're just paying for, like, you're subsidizing continued development of content, you know. It's like a slow trickle that means that they can work on stuff, and it's better than just donating money because you get a little something out of it. You know, you're always kind of in a weird middle zone as a developer. You want to, especially like a quote-unquote indie game, whatever you want to call Super Roto Pets, like you don't want to like shortchange and just scam your basically your audience by like going full microtransaction, because that's like the thing you're trying to avoid, right? By giving like DLC in the form of packs instead of going like gacha monetization route. But naturally, when you start charging for anything that's like quote unquote empty content, like a subscription, people are gonna be like, no, like it's basically a donation where you get some free stuff. And I would recommend if you play this game a lot, I would just buy it, you know, if you can afford it and you can justify it. It's a nice way to support. Okay.